A pleasant afternoon of shopping is interrupted by a case of road rage. One man dies and forever changes the life of another. Stop the Threat starts now. Hello and welcome to Stop the Threat. My name is James Towle. On this week's episode, Rob Pincus is back, managing editor of the Personal Defense Network, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about that network. Kelly Muir is here, and she is a contributor to the Personal Defense Network, and she specializes in unarmed defense. Steve Vandermolen is here, and he is going to tell us about a youth program which he has started at Thunder Shooters Club. And I want to start with the youth program. So
okay.
Tell me about it.
We have the parents coming out for training, and very quickly it evolved that they wanted to get their children out there, their kids out there, to get them some training as well. And so we started a youth program. We've set the ages right now between 12 and 17. We will go younger if we can interview the kid and just get a check of their maturity level.
Okay, so there's no laws in Texas pertaining to age. It is a point in which you have established.
Just an arbitrary point that we established.
Okay. All right.
We keep a very, very strict one instructor per student ratio.
Nice.
We have a lead instructor that kind of guides the program, and each of the instructors is teaching the student themselves. The parents have to be there. They have to remain there for the entire class, but we don't let them get involved in the training. Where they can sit and observe, but they can't intervene in the instructor's training.
So no comments. They can sit over there very quietly, but basically you want a one-on-one with the people.
Absolutely, right, and it's been very successful.
Okay. Rob, tell us more about the Personal Defense Network.
Personal Defense Network is something I'm incredibly proud of. It is a resource for free training information, articles, and video clips. It's all available at personaldefensenetwork.com. And what I've done is assembled a team of expert contributors. And those contributors, what's required of them before they can write for us, before they can do video clips or even our full-length training DVDs, is they must be active instructors. So it's vital to me that these people aren't just gun writers or people giving their opinions based on prior experience, but they're actively engaged in teaching people. So we have some of the leaders in the industry, Tom Givens, Mike Seeklander, Chris Collins, Omari Broussard, Marty Hayes, and Kelly Muir is one of our contributors also. We're really proud to have her involved.
Okay, well, you tell us how you're involved.
I love Personal Defense Network because it is free information, and I was so pleased to be brought on board. My background is in unarmed defense, so where a lot of the writers will write about personal firearm defense, I'm able to go in and write about personal defense, self-defense. We do video work on very, very simple tips that you can keep in mind to stay safe, and just really giving people simple, effective information that they can use every single day as they move through their day, just to stay safe.
Okay, are you addressing male, female, children?
A lot of my material is applicable to anybody.
Okay.
But I would be remiss if I didn't say that a great amount of it is geared more toward women, not so much toward children at this time, but a lot toward the female population.
Okay. Well, I've only got a few seconds, but I want to tell you that the scenario or the crime scene that we have today basically could be called road rage, but we're going to call it the accident because things are involved here. When we come back, we'll see part one. Welcome back. Today's crime incident actually is a road rage incident. Took place in Texas. It does involve bumping, and we kind of nicknamed it the accident. I'm going to show you part one, and let's look at that now.
There's a song that I'm hearing inside of my head. We're getting along.
Well, screw you too!
Watching the bright blue sky. The children are laughing and dancing.
Come on! Move!
Yeah, I'm going. stress.
Finally.
After all, beautiful life.
Damn it!
Hi. I was just in an accident on Palm Shadows Lane. Can you send someone? Yes, both cars are drivable and we are okay, but he seems really angry. Yes. Yes, I can stay on the line until they get here. Thank you.
What the hell? You hit my car, you stupid bitch! Get out here! You better be insured! Come on! Get out here now! I'm gonna make you pay for making me late. Come on! Let's go!
Okay, no doubt about it, we're talking about road rage, right? Okay, there's no question there. I don't know that she did anything wrong at this point. What do you think?
I think she's done a very good job up to this point, just handling the situation, calling for help, not getting out of the car. She noticed that he was very unhappy. She may not have wanted to pull right up behind him, but that's being enormously critical at this point. I really think that she did many things well. He is furious.
Okay. Did she have to pull up behind him, Steve?
I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, you'd give yourself an out, and she just took away all of her outs by pulling right up against his bumper.
Is
The
there
only
any-
option she has now is to back
Is
up.
there anything in the law that says you have to stop and exchange information right then and there? I don't know.
I don't know either. In Texas,
Yeah,
I'm
not sure. And this did take place in Texas. I mean, suppose that, let's go one step further, Rob. This did happen. Okay, she knows he's upset. There has been an accident.
Really angry.
She called 911. This guy pulls into the parking lot. Hey, she goes down to the gas station.
Right. And I think
What's
that's,
wrong with
that's
that?
the key. There's nothing wrong with that. There certainly are laws on the books that say you cannot leave the scene of an accident, but if you're on the phone with the police explaining that the other person you were involved in the accident with is irate, is furious, you're scared, it's a dark area. You don't want to pull over on a dark road in the middle of the night. You're going to drive a mile to some place that's well lit, populated, truck stop, whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's exactly what people should do.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how I feel.
No, I agree with that.
Okay,
I would
so under the circumstances, if this were to take place, there is no law that says that you have to follow the individual into the parking lot and wait for law enforcement to arrive. That we know of. I mean, if you're on the phone, as we said, if you're on the phone with him and you're very
That's the key
uncomfortable,
point,
yeah,
is that
I'm
you
very
have to be on the
uncomfortable
phone.
with the individual. I'm not going to follow him. I'm going to go to, and I'll meet you there. What's wrong with that?
Right. There's no criminal intent to elude the police or
because
avoid
you're
responsibility
right there on
for
the
the
phone with
accident.
911.
Absolutely.
Anything else she could have done? I mean, I like your comment. If she did follow him, there's no reason to park right there and give yourself that extra out if you needed it, since you already know going into the situation that he's upset.
Yeah, she knew that before she pulled up behind
Right.
him. So
And she could pull out right now. He's banging on the window. She could leave.
she did
Sure.
shut the car off, and that's going back
Again, shut the car off. That was a
That's
mistake, right? But I like where you're going with that. But if she sees him come out and now he's banging on the hood and he's hollering, "Hey, put the car in reverse, and leave." Well, what's wrong with that? Still has the phone open, right? As
Phone's
far as
still
we
open.
know, I
Right.
think the phone was still
Absolutely.
open.
And at this point, obviously, we know she has a firearm. At this point, she could have staged that better. I'm not a big fan of the loose firearm floating around in the glove box. Either, again, in the purse holster, on the body, maybe secured in a hard point, at least in a holster inside the glove box. If that has a round chambered, that could be reckless. If it doesn't have a round chambered, the gun isn't as useful. And now it's in the box on the other side of the car, and she's distracted looking this way. So,
Okay,
small
so
tactical
you're
things.
not comfortable with the fact that it was loose in the glove box, under the assumption there may not be one chambered.
And if there is one in the chamber, then it's kind of reckless.
Then
just
it's
have it
banging
floating
around in there,
Right,
and it
exactly.
could go off.
And not that it could go off,
Okay.
but when you reach in, especially
Yeah.
under any kind of panic situation, you
stress.
might hit the trigger, right, as you're getting to grab the gun because it's not protected. There's no trigger guard cover with a holster there. So there's a couple issues there. Minor tactical points, but that's what we're
No, I think that's a good issue. And I know a lot of people, I don't know, maybe you do as well, Steve, who do just put the gun in the glove
Oh,
box.
absolutely.
Now, and they may not have one in the chamber. Okay, she's panicked, she's not comfortable, she's on the phone with 911, she has followed him into the parking lot. It's not in a lonely parking lot in the middle of nowhere, so there are other cars, there are other witnesses possibly.
And it's worth saying, let's be the other guy. Let's be the guy who is now acting like an idiot in the parking lot. What if we're that person? We need to remember to keep our emotions in check, that accidents happen, not to get upset if somebody's on the phone, somebody bumps into us, all these things that have triggered his outrageous behavior. I don't think he woke up this morning saying, I'm going to go attack someone in a parking lot. But now he's allowed himself to get sucked into that.
Right. When we come back, I'll show you part 2. Welcome back. We're looking at a road rage incident that involved a young lady, and she's not comfortable with what took place. Now, we've commented on some of the things that she's done correctly. I'm not sure she's done a lot incorrect at this point, a few things. But as this matures or continues, things do go differently than possibly we might expect. So let's watch part 2.
Get out here right now!
No, I called the police. Go away.
Open what? Aaron! Open the door! Get out here!
Someone help, please. He's trying to get in the car. He's really mad and he's scaring me. I sent somebody to help. Are you still there? I shot him. He was gonna break through the glass to get into the car.
Okay, well, that's what happens when things continue down the wrong trail, huh? And we knew that she was armed. We knew that she was scared. I don't know at what point in the crime report it did say that he was attempting to break the window. That's when she went for the gun. Well, actually, she tried to leave and drop the keys. And at that point, she had a decision to make. Am I going to fumble around, try to find the keys, or do I go for the gun? He's about to break the window. What do you think?
I think it's a very fine line. He did not break the window. She shot through the window. It's very difficult to say that her life was in immediate danger. It's easy to see how frustrated she was and how frightened she was, absolutely. But it's a very sad situation that there are so many things that could have happened prior to keep her from getting there. I feel like she shot too early.
Steve?
I'd agree with that. And she took away a number of her own options. Shutting the engine off and taking the keys out of the ignition pulled some of her options. Pulling up too close to the guy in front of her took away options. She basically let herself into a funnel where that was the only thing she could do. And I agree with Kelly, she fired too quickly.
Yeah, the crime report did say that she had dropped the keys and she felt like there was no alternative rather than searching around for the keys.
It's a should versus could issue, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree and not say that I think she shot too early. We all agree that she put herself in a position where that was sort of one of very few options she had. Right. The issue is, once you're in that car, if that guy does punch through the glass and pieces of that glass get blown into your face, that fist that comes through continues through and hits you the wrong way, moves you the wrong way, the glass gets in your eye, now you don't even have the option of defense. So that too soon issue is very hard to judge. Could she shoot to defend herself? I think we all agree that she could. most of the time in these scenarios, I'll say, well, just because you can doesn't mean you should. In this case, I don't know that she had any other option, and waiting another half second really could have meant that she couldn't defend herself. So I think she had to act at that point.
Okay, so you're certainly in favor of her going for the gun and firing on an individual who was attempting to actually break into her vehicle, which is your domicile in many states.
Yeah, I think once you wrap your hand and you start pounding on the
right.
glass, I think you've crossed that threshold. If he were just pounding on the window and he hadn't taken that extra deliberate, contemplated step to really get in there and cause damage, I think that's something different. But given that he did that, it takes it to another level.
Okay, what would have happened if she had said, okay, I'm coming out, and she opens the door?
Well, I certainly wouldn't have recommended that at all. I mean, he was completely irrational.
So you
And-
don't think at that point he might have backed away, calmed himself down? You didn't see that taking place at all?
I don't think she can risk that happening.
Okay.
That's a very, very big risk. I would have loved to have seen her get the weapon and express, her willingness to shoot him, and then see if he'll back down. That I think that's the missing element. But of course, we're talking seconds, and she's scared to death. But that may have calmed him down. Just that could have been the reality check that he needed at that moment. And who knows what brought this guy to this irrational place in his day? Maybe he never had a violent moment in his life, but today was a horrible day, and he paid by getting shot. So.
Okay, brandishing the weapon.
In Texas, it's, as we all know, it can work against you if you're not careful. But she was already on with 911. She was already talking to them. I don't see any problem with that. I think this incident points up the necessity of having a plan again. You have to have thought through some of these scenarios so you don't get in too deep and take away all your options.
And I think this situation really brings to light the enormous responsibility of carrying a weapon. We don't know why he is so frustrated. She shot. She was afraid for her life. There is a huge aftermath for both sides now. So it's a great responsibility that someone needs to train for.
I'll ask you the same question, brandishing the weapon.
Yeah,
Would that
I
have
think,
ended it?
and that's the issue. Is it's hard in the reenactment. Was that the fifth time he pounded on the
Right.
glass? Was he just about to do it for the first time? We don't know. And how fast does she get the gun and turn and shoot? Does she turn and say stop? We don't know. Those are nuances that aren't there. If you have the opportunity to have that psychological stop and get someone to back off because you've presented the firearm, if that's not putting you in any more danger, for example, sometimes we'll tell people don't brandish the gun because someone could come up behind you and knock the gun out of your hand. Well, when you're in your car, we aren't worried about that. So there may have been an opportunity.
Okay.
Again, hard to say.
All right, when we come back, we'll have more comments. Welcome back. We've looked at a road rage incident, and we need to leave the folks with some sort of an idea of a plan they should have for their vehicle. We've talked about lots of plans, but I'm not sure we've ever discussed a plan for your vehicle, and there's a number of things that can happen to you in your vehicle. Well, give me a plan.
Absolutely. Well, in this case, the one element that we've already discussed is the fact that she could have used the vehicle to leave. In this case, the other, the man was out of his car. He wasn't going to chase her on foot. Now, he could have followed her with his vehicle, but leaving the car on and then going would have been a terrific option for her.
Okay, Steve?
Sometimes just pre-visualizing. We sit and daydream all the time anyway. Why not use that time productively? And there's nothing wrong with pre-visualizing what would happen if. And you'll never hit every scenario. But just by virtue of the fact that you're thinking through some of these things, it makes your reaction time better when something unexpected hits you. And so there's nothing paranoid, nothing unusual about thinking through some of these scenarios and building your mental awareness of what's going on around you.
And it could be that when someone visualizes any situation that is similar to this, that the very first thing they might do is get that gun out of the glove box and visualize that that is not an effective place for it to be, and that it needs to be somewhere else and easily accessible.
Okay. Well, this was a road rage incident. However, something similar could happen in a carjacking. And that may be part of what this plan is about. Because we have some people in common. I know people who have been stopped at a stop sign, and they've been approached. So it's a carjacking at that point. So what's the plan there, Rob?
Well, again, keep the car running. If you know that you're in danger, keep the car running. Make sure you're keeping an exit, right? We talk about if you're in that inner city area, if you're in a higher threat area, you're alert, you're aware. Don't pull right back up to the bumper of that car in front of you. Give yourself an out. Somebody comes up to the door, you hit the gas and go. I'd rather run a red light than I would have to worry about getting into a situation where I have to shoot somebody because I pinned myself in. Staging the firearm in a better place, thinking about that, thinking about access. And then, there's some things that she did right. She got on the phone, she stayed on the phone, she acknowledged that. You talk a lot about intuitive decision making in the Wrong Woman program. She acknowledged that she was scared of this guy. She just didn't necessarily know what to do about being scared of this guy.
Yeah, at this point also, I just want to say that legally, there can be some problems here. I mean, there may have been some witnesses, but this could be, I'm looking at the defense attorney's point of view here, and he's probably going to question shooting. So
wrapping the hand takes it into a level where I'm much more comfortable with it. He was just pounding on the car. I'd be a lot more worried about it.
And it did work to her benefit, I would imagine, that she did have 911 on the phone and she had expressed fear already, repetitively, that she was afraid of him, he was very angry, and that does help her self-defense case.
So her best witness, in fact, was 911.
All of that is on tape.
And now
They had that
being
entire
recorded and it's on tape.
transcript of that tape. So they could actually, on tape, see that unfold.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for tuning in this week. I think this has been a very interesting road rage incident. I think it tells us to prepare for those kinds of things. And I will leave you with this. The gunfight that you do not get into is probably the best gunfight you'll ever get into. See you next week. Be safe, be trained, be alert.